Welcome to Real Estate Investing for Women. On this show, you will learn how to create wealth through real estate the blissful way. That means with very little stress and very little time. We talk about strategies, mindset, heart set, money smarts, resources, and so much more to ensure you're able to create the success you most deeply desire. Now, here's your host, Moneeka Sawyer.
Today, I am so excited to welcome to the show Lauren Hardy. Lauren is a real estate investor with a people-first approach to business. Investing in hundreds of properties in her career, Lauren has the unique reputation of being a successful virtual investor, having not lived in many of the states that she's invested in. Lauren has been able to persevere in extremely competitive markets by constantly following the market changes and being flexible and willing to move market territories when needed. She currently lives in Southern California with her two daughters, but invests in properties all over the country. Hey there, Lauren. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so delighted. Lauren has been so kind and patient, ladies. I just want to tell you, we've been trying to get her scheduled for over a year. I'm so excited it's finally happened. Yay! So Lauren, tell us a little bit.
We made it.
Yeah, we made it. Yay! Could you tell us a little bit about your story, like the 2-minute high-level version of why are you doing what you're doing?
Well, my big why is basically I am a mom. I'm a single mom of two girls. Their ages 7 and 10. So my big why is I did not want a corporate job. I did not want to have to go in and clock out and be and have my time controlled by someone else. So I learned very early on when my daughter was first born that this whole parenting thing is actually pretty tough. And it is definitely very hard when you have two parents that have corporate jobs. You know, what do you do when your kid is sick? And it just so happened that I had one of those babies that got sick every 2-3 weeks. And it just seemed like the universe was telling me that one of us needs to have a more flexible career to take care of, this child. Then fast forward, I had another baby. And gosh, if you want to go even more fast forward, I'm now a single mom. So I knew early on there was something telling me you need to be able to work from home. You need to have a flexible schedule. And I was willing to do anything. I didn't care what the job was, didn't care what the business was. I would do it as long as I could work from home. It just so happened that my brother started flipping houses and he was having some success in it. Now this is 2012. I'll take you guys back. This is 2012. And he said, you should look into this because you really only have to flip a couple homes and you'll make your salary that you're making now and you can stay home with the kids. I thought, sounds good. So that was my start. And that is my why, that I've always chased time freedom. I've always chased lifestyle design. I'm obsessed with lifestyle design and just living a very good, and enriched life. I don't necessarily need a rich life and I don't necessarily aspire to make tons and tons of money, although that's great. But for me, it was time freedom. That was my number one why. So my career has evolved in many different ways. It started out as house flipping. I got into some ground up development projects. And then I got into wholesaling. And right now my investment company is more based on volume wholesaling. I wholesale properties outside of my market territory. So not in California, I actually do it out of state. And I also, in my career evolved to now I coach wholesaling and I coach virtual wholesaling. So that's what I'm known for is the virtual wholesaling. So that is a high level, what my business is all about.
Oh my gosh, Lauren, that was unbelievable. You said so many magical things. And ladies, I just want to highlight a couple of things for you that Lauren just said so eloquently, but you may not have caught. First of all, she talked about having an enriched life rather than a rich life. Did you ladies catch that? And it's so that is so like how I live too, right? There's so much of the time people are like, I gotta be rich, right? And if you're just gotta be rich, there's no way to know when enough is enough. There's no way to know when your life has reached that place where now you get to relax. Now you get to reap the benefits. Now you get to go out there and focus more on what are you going to do out there in the world, or what are you going to do from your family, rather than chasing the dollar, right? And I think this is something that's really key for us women, is we get caught up in this sort of male competitive, like it's never enough. What's next? What's next? What's next? And you never want to stop striving to be the best version of you. But the best version of you doesn't necessarily mean the richest you could possibly be. And I just love the way that Lauren just really talked about, I don't need to be super rich, but she needs to make sure she can take care of her kids and herself, and obviously put her kids through college and retire. I mean, she's got this plan, right? She didn't talk about it, but we can all make those assumptions, I'm sure. But it's all about the enriched life. It's not about how much money can I make. So I loved that, Lauren. And then the second thing is, normally when I ask people to give me their high level story, they start from the very beginning and they move to today. And what Lauren did, and ladies, I really want you to capture this in your heart, is that Lauren started with her why. Because our why is the secret to our life. It's a secret to your business, and it's a secret to your success. And Lauren, without even thinking about it, led with that, because that's what drives her, right? And it's an amazing driver. Like, if we really understand our why, we will never stop doing the things that will help us to achieve our why, no matter how bad we feel in the morning, no matter what challenges we come up against, because that's how business is. Nothing in life is just a cakewalk, or, we things happen, right? But that why is going to be the thing that draws your heart forward and keeps you moving, even when there are challenges. So, Lauren, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for that incredibly eloquent story, and the way that you led us through so much learning just by being who you are. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Okay, so now let's talk about how do you know which markets to enter into? How do you know, like, what do you base those decisions on?
Well, I have a lot of experience jumping in and out of markets. The markets change, depending on what's going on in the economy and what's going on in your particular market. And I have been in different types of markets. I've been in, I live in Southern California. The average house price here is around $850,000. Okay, so not cheap, very, very expensive. I'm in a very high price market where I live. However, this market was amazing during the recession. During the recession, you could get amazing deals on real estate here, and it wasn't that difficult. Anybody who wanted to be a house flipper could be one, really, here around 2012, 2011, and before. But things change. The real estate market got very, very hot just throughout the country, but especially in these types of the high-priced major metros. And it became difficult to do this business here in Southern California. So your market could be amazing for a time being, and then you might have, some sort of situation that makes it change, and you need to be flexible. And for me, when I don't know if you've read the Who Moved My Cheese book, but I like to make that reference. If anybody's read the book Who Moved My Cheese, I make the reference, my cheese moved around 2016 and the real estate market got really, really hot, and it became very hard to find a flip project here. And I had to find another market, or I had to go get a full-time job. It was one or the other. So how do you know, where a good market is? Right now, if you're asking me today at the time of filming this episode, the major metros are pretty tough. A lot of people are crying in the major metros saying there's no deals. But where I'm hearing there's still deals is 30 minutes out from the major metro, where, people are commuting. Maybe they have jobs in the major metro, but they have to commute. So that will change, with time. Like, if there is some distress, if the bubble bursts, who knows what's going to happen in the future. But if the real estate market, starts to go down again, the major metros might be hot again. It might be easy to do real estate. So you kind of need to follow market trends, and you need to stay really relevant. You really need to stay on top of it. Ways that you can do that is just networking. One of my favorite ways to stay relevant is networking with people in the market you're in and just asking them, are you picking up good deals? Is it getting harder? What's your marketing cost to get your deals? Has it increased? Have your wholesale fees gone up or down? Those are good questions to ask. So hopefully I answered that question.
Yeah,
Probably,
yeah.
I think I answered a lot of questions in that.
Yeah, you did. So
I did. Sorry, good.
So are you doing wholesaling these markets? And tell me specifically, like, why 30 minutes out of the main metros? Like, and let me clarify why I'm asking that question. What we've seen is that there are a lot of people that have moved out of the metros because of the pandemic. They sort of feel like, I want a bigger home, more space, right? But so yes, I'm noticing that that's happening. I'm also noticing that a lot of them are assuming that they can work at home still, and we don't know how that's going to change. So in my area, we're not seeing 30 minutes. Like 30 minutes out from the metro is still the same prices as San Jose. You might see a $50,000 drop. I'm in the San Jose area.
Ooh.
Our median price is 1.2. Just so you know. So ladies, as you're listening, like Lauren and I are in markets, you really, they're tough markets, right? But for us in my market, you don't see price drops until about an hour out. So just kind of like, is that kind of a loose guideline, or talk to me a little bit more about that?
Oh, it's a very loose guideline. So I did not realize you lived in Northern California. So I have a lot of Northern California students that come to me and they just completely leave the state.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's insane. So it depends on, what kind of investing strategy. I know this is, there's buy and hold listeners on this listening to this podcast probably, or hold, and people that are interested in wholesaling and flipping. It really depends on your investment strategy. But if you are in an area that is very high priced, you might just want to consider going completely out of state. So I actually have a price point sweet spot that I like right now. And again, all of this stuff changes. So this is right now in 2021. What I'm saying, ask me a year from now, who knows, but what I've noticed in my experience with being in different markets, trying different markets out, being successful in some of them, not as much in others, and also having a lot of students and hearing their feedback, is when the average price point is above 200,000, you are dealing with a different type of seller. There are so many places. This is probably hard for you to realize, and me at one point, right? Because we're from California, where 200,000 sounds what? Is there an area in California where there's prices under 200,000? No, probably not, or it'd be difficult to find. But there are plenty of areas in the United States where the average house price is under $200,000. And what I've noticed is when prices get above $200,000, you're really dealing with a different type of seller. There's less seller distress in that price point above 200,000. Sellers are usually savvier. They have more options and they don't get themselves in as much trouble. They don't have as many problems for us to solve. As real estate investors, we really are problem solvers. I mean, we're looking for homes that we can add value to. So usually these houses are, they're deferred in their maintenance. And there's a type of seller that gets themselves in that situation. So first baseline I want to get you started with is looking at price points in the area. And hands down, anybody I've spoken with that their average price point is above 200,000, I start hearing cries of, there's just no deals in this area. So if you're in an area like San Jose, where even 30 minutes out, you're still talking $800,000, that's completely different. I'm saying find an area that's even more further out until you start seeing that price point. And now we're talking. But even so say in an area, a major metro like Oklahoma City or Indianapolis, for example. Atlanta, Georgia is a beautiful example as well. Yeah, your average house price point around 200,000 or lower. They meet that price point. But because of market saturation within the metro from other investors, doing the same types of marketing techniques they are, competing after the same homes. That's kind of what I mean by go 30 minutes out of Atlanta, and you'll notice there's a lot less investors willing to go 30 minutes out. They're still very hung up on the major metro. So you might have better luck out there for now. Now, if the market cools down and there's just more inventory, there's more distressed inventory, think back to like 2011 when you could even go probably in San Jose. I know in Orange County, you could go to the trustee sales and they were auctioning houses out to whoever who will take them. We'll be back in those major metros, and it'll, because there's more inventory, but right now it's just inventory so low in those major metros. So you need to start thinking about going outside of them.
Got it. And so the price point that you're looking for is under 200,000. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Talk to us a little bit about how you market to these people that you've never met, right? And you're probably never going to meet them.
Yeah. So direct to seller marketing is my specialty. I've never actually purchased an investment property off the MLS to date, and it's been almost 10 years. So I learned direct to seller marketing. That's all I know. I don't know how to really work with realtors and go on the MLS. So I started the business out when direct mail was the thing to do. So I've done direct mail for many years, but I do other stuff. We do cold calling, we do mass text messaging. I just got into TV ads, and that's been really exciting. So yeah, I'm doing all sorts of direct to seller stuff. I've done some online like Google AdWords and Facebook ads as well. I wouldn't say it's my specialty. I'm not a big fan of that marketing method, and I've got a bunch of reasons why. So I don't really focus on that as much, but I still find that cold calling, mass texting, and the TV ads are working really well, and direct mail as well.
Okay, awesome. Very, very cool. And then, so you're not there. Do you need boots on the ground people, and how do you find them?
Absolutely. So you definitely need people in your corner in the market that you're in. I have my team, I call them a runner. So a very crucial person that you can hire there, that it's really not that hard to find. I call them a runner. And basically that means an errand runner. Okay. I made up that term. And what that person does is they run all the errands that I would have ran if I was at that local market. So if you need to go buy a property and take photos, that's your runner's job. And I pay them around $20 an hour. I find that type of person on Craigslist, super easy position to fill. It's usually someone who's just looking to make some extra money on the side. They present themselves well. They're professional looking. You want to make sure, because this person's representing your company. So you want to make sure you interview, you can do a Zoom interview and make sure that they present themselves well. But yeah, that's a very important boots on ground person that you need. What I really, really recommend is when you start in a virtual market to just team up with another investor that is doing what you're trying to do, and do a few deals with them at first. Maybe do your first 5 to 10 deals with that partner. I call this partner a JV partner, meaning joint venture partner. So I'm really, really big on teaming up and partnering and collaborating at first, because you're going to cut your learning curve. Every market has nuances that you really don't understand until you're in it for like 6 months. But a good way to cut that 6 months in half or more is having that JV partner who can explain those nuances to you right then and there, and you learn them quicker. If it was just you figuring out those nuances on your own, it could take quite a long time. So I do recommend JV partnering as well as like a crucial boots on ground you need to have.
How do you find a JV partner in that market?
So I love Facebook RIAs, the real estate investment associations that are local in the area. You can ask, hey, I'm looking to partner on a deal. Who's actively wholesaling in this area? Tag a friend, tag somebody that you know. I've gotten all of my JVs mainly from Facebook, and then like word of mouth, like you maybe talk to someone and ask them, like, do you know anyone? Do you know a wholesaler who's really active? If it's wholesaling specifically, getting on other wholesalers' buyers lists and see who's producing a lot of deals every month. And then get on the phone and talk to them about being a partner.
Got it. And I'm sure you interview them to make sure that you're aligned and that they've got a good reputation and all of that stuff. Is that true?
100%.
Oh,
Definitely alignment is important. Yes,
okay.
because you can get a bad JV partner for sure. Like you can get
Absolutely.
one that acts like they know what they're doing, but they really don't. I mean, that's a common one is they actually aren't doing that many deals in the area, but they like are excited. And so they say they are,
Mm-hmm.
and also just, yeah, I always say like, I do like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, like, this one's too hot, this one's too cold, this one's just right.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell my students personally, I say, take a week for this, take a week to find that perfect. Maybe it's not just one person, maybe there's three people that you want to work with and try out. Sometimes a JV partner is maybe good at one niche, like they can sell one type of house and they have these types of buyers, but they don't have others. They don't have a variety of buyers on their list. So that's why you actually might want to have maybe two or three that you work with and spend time trying to find that two or three. Call 20 plus of them, have a lot of conversations, and you'll have that feeling of, okay, this one's just right. After you talk to enough of them, you'll know who stood out to you.
Got it. Do you go into several different markets? So for instance, you're wholesaling, right? You go into one market and just kind of hang out there, right? You might do how many deals in that market before you move to another market, or how does that work for you?
So bouncing in and out of markets is a very hard thing to pull off. It's
Yes.
really, really hard. Yeah, it's hard. Every market has nuances. I always say it takes 6 months to figure a market out.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't bounce around. I Where I have moved is when a market just got too competitive and my marketing cost to get one deal was just starting to get way too high. I might move markets, but knowing that I'm going to stay in that market for a while.
Got it.
I have had moments where I've tried markets out and it just didn't feel like the ones I've been successful in, and I've moved out of them maybe after a month.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that before, but it's not something I recommend. I don't recommend jumping in and out and trying to be in 5 markets at once. Really, every market is its own baby, and you need to think of it as a baby, and that you need to really nourish it and spend time with it. And if you're going to open up a new market, plan on not making any money for 6 months and focusing on it. So you don't want to take away from your market that's actually producing really well. So you want to make sure that if you are, say, in one market and you're doing well, but maybe you want to expand, you want to make sure that that market that you're doing well in is still churning and burning, and you've got someone managing it so you can take your focus onto the new one, building
Got
out the
it.
new one.
Mm. I
Yeah.
love that. And I love this focus. And ladies, again, these little gems by Lauren. Um, and so she says there's one market that's performing, but she knows it's time to kind of move. So she's got someone managing one and she's focusing on the other one, right? This is true on so many levels in life. If you've got a W 2 job and you want to become a real estate investor, you don't just quit your W 2 job and become an investor because there's lag time. There's a learning curve, there's lead time. So it's not just this strategy, it's every strategy, right? And so much of what Lauren is saying is so valuable in so many different strategies. You want to make sure that you're not freaked out and making bad decisions
Mhm.
because you don't have cash flow coming in, right? Some people are like, oh, burn your bridges and you'll be highly motivated. Yeah, and you'll be freaked out and you could make bad decisions, right? So so it's better if you can do a transition and have a transition time and plan it rationally so that you've got some time to create success. So that's really, really cool. Thank you, Lauren. Okay,
Yes, I
so
know. Absolutely.
yeah, good. We've got a little lag, so I'm feeling bad because Lauren's like so enthusiastic, and then I keep talking over her. Sorry.
No worries. No worries.
Yay. Okay, so Lauren and I were going to talk to you ladies about the 4 key performance indicators that you should be tracking, that she tracks. However, we're out of time on this portion of the show, so we are going to bump that to extra. And she says that she can do a really nice deep dive on this. What are the key performance indicators that she tracks and you should be tracking? So we will have that in extra, so stay tuned for that. But as we're going to close out this show, there's a couple questions I have for you. Well, first, are you ready for our 3 rapid fire questions?
I am.
Okay, perfect. So, Lauren, tell us one super tip on getting started in real estate investing.
So I think I already dropped the super tip. So I'm sorry if I spoiled it, but I do really recommend aligning yourself with a partner. So go into this just saying, I am going to partner with somebody for my first 5 to 10 deals, because that's a big mistake I made. I really do wish, if I were to words in time, I really wish that I didn't have such an ego. And I wish I would have partnered for like my first 2 years, because when I first got started, it was 2012. It was an amazing time to be a house flipper, but I didn't really know it because I didn't have experience. I didn't have hindsight. I didn't know much about real estate in general. Had I known what I know now, I wish I would have partnered with someone that was doing like a very high volume of flips in my area, because I would have just 50-50 gone in with them and done way more flips, made way more money, because I would have had them with me. Part of it's the courage aspect. I think, I don't want to generalize, but I do feel what I've noticed with myself being a female, and even some of my female students, is we have a fear. Like, we have a little bit more sometimes of like a heightened fear response. And flipping is it's scary. Real estate investing can be kind of scary. It can be intimidating. And if I would have had a partner that was maybe 10 years ahead of me and would have been like trailblazing with me, I would have been like, okay, is like, they're my safety blanket. Like, okay, they know what they're doing and they say it's a good deal. So like, let's just do it. I didn't have that person. So it was all me. And I was doing a lot less than I was capable of, honestly. So that's my big tip: get a partner.
Okay, perfect. And one thing that I just want to say, because I've gotten a partner too, mentorship is key, right? So getting a partner is unbelievably important. However, do your due diligence on each of those projects, right? Like in your case, maybe someone would have brought you a lot of good stuff. They had 10 years of experience, but that's still no guarantee of success in the next project, the one that you're going to be involved in. And so you do your due diligence on the project. You find out why they think it's a good deal. You can take a look at it, see why you think it's a good deal or not, because then that makes that tightens your learning curve even more, because now you're like fully engaged. You have this trust factor. You've got some person to bounce some stuff off of. You've got somebody mentoring you. You're also learning how to do your due diligence, which is really, really helpful too. So I love that tip. And then what is one strategy on being successful in real estate investing?
Gosh, I think something that I've done and I do really well is I make friends really, really well.
Mhm.
And having friends in my back pocket in every niche of real estate investing has been so rewarding. So it's been so nice to, anytime I'm struggling with an aspect of my business, that I know who to call. They say your network is your net worth. I always didn't really, I thought that quote was kind of cheesy, but it is a little bit true, right? Like, I literally can pick up my phone and if there's ever a problem, like, I have somebody in my phone that I can call and figure it out.
Nice.
So make friends. Mhm.
Okay. And build a network. Yay. And then
Build a
what is
network.
build a network? Yeah. What is one daily practice that you would say contributes to your personal success, Lauren?
I discovered this little hack, and it's really made a big difference in my life. And I don't do it every day, but I do it as often as I can think to do it. I would say this is like more of a mindfulness strategy. I like to write down a list of what's going well and what is not working. So, like, what's working, what's not working. And I'll write, on a piece of paper. Okay. I get my yellow pad out. I never leave anywhere, by the way, with this yellow pad here next to me. And I will get a yellow pad out and go, first, I want to express gratitude and I want to say what's going well, because I think it's important to acknowledge what you've accomplished that's going well. Like, good job. Like, you solved that problem. It was a problem. You solved it. Now it's going well, right? So I write down everything that's going well. And sometimes this has a lot to do with lifestyle design. A lot of it is like my kids, maybe their schools are not working out or are working out, if we're talking going well. Love their school. Their daycare is great. Their summer camp has been amazing. routines going well. You want to list everything that is going well in your life, right? It's really important, I think, to express some gratitude. But then I turn it over and I write what needs work. And I just brain dump the stuff that I'm feeling weight. I'm feeling, okay, something's broken. What are the things that are broken that we can fix? And every time you look at that list, you might start noticing correlations. Like sometimes you've got 5 things, but they're all related to your commute is too much. You're commuting too much. You're driving too much in the car, or it's you're like, maybe you're feeling tired. You have a lot of brain fog, like you're having a hard time staying focused. Maybe that's your diet. Like you start realizing, like, how can I fix this? Like, what tools do I need to fix these problems? So then from there, I start writing out possible solutions. Sometimes those possible solutions are things that I can immediately do right now. Like sometimes it's like letting go of a bad employee that's draining everybody on the team. Or sometimes the possible solution is hiring a coach of some kind. You need mentorship. You need coaching. Maybe it's getting a new doctor, whatever it is. I mean, I recently, this is a pretty big step, but it made such a big difference. Because of COVID, my kids' school got, it was distance learning, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't handle the responsibilities of being a business owner and being a home mom. So one day it was all my problems or all my things that were going wrong were related to that. And I picked up the phone that day and called every private school that I knew was open, and got them into private school the next week, and poof, stress lifted, So I love that daily practice. I think everybody would benefit from doing it.
Wow. I love that. I just love that. I have like a million things I want to say, and this is your spot, so I'm not going to say anything, but yay, that was amazing. Thank you. Ladies, I've really enjoyed talking to Lauren. I hope you've enjoyed chatting with her too, or hearing from her too. And I am going to have a link in the show notes that will show you how you can get in touch with her. We talked a little bit about what's going on, and there's been some transitions in her company. So I don't want to give a link right now because this will drop probably about 3 or 4 months after we've actually done the interview. So I want to make sure I've got the most relevant link for you. So that will be in the show notes. So take a look at that at blissfulinvestor.com. Lauren, thank you so much for joining us for this portion of the show. This has been amazing.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really nice to be, on a show that's also female focused. It's hard because I feel like we are in a very male dominated industry. So it's always fun to collaborate, with other working women, and it's exciting. Honestly, I love what you're doing. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure, Lauren. And ladies, Lauren's got more for us. We're going to be talking about the 4 KPIs, the key performance indicators that she focuses on in her markets, and that you should too when you're looking at markets outside of your home area. So stay tuned for that. That is going to be on Extra. So if you are not subscribed to Extra but would like to be, go to Real Estate Investing for Women Extra.com. The first 7 days are free, so check it out. And of course, if you love it, and I hope you will stick with us. But that's Real Estate Investing for Women Extra.com. For those of you that are leaving us now, thank you so much for joining Lauren and I for this portion of the show. Hasn't it been wonderful? I look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, remember, goals without action are just dreams. So get out there, take action, and create the life your heart deeply desires. I'll see you soon. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you'd like to find out more about how to become a blissful millionaire, go to blissfulinvestor.com. See you next time.